I grew up in a gray house in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, a place so remote it felt like the world had forgotten it. The word childhood doesn't fit those years. It's too gentle, too innocent for the weight of what happened. From 12 to 15, I lived in that house, a sturdy, unassuming box with a red front door that stood out like a fresh scar. My parents chose it for its affordability, its quiet, the promise of a simple life away from the city's clamor. It was nice enough at first, clean, warm, surrounded by endless forest, but it was a mistake, one they'd pay for with their lives. There were no neighbors, no kids to kick a ball with, no hum of life beyond the trees that stretched in every direction, their branches clawing at the sky. The forest was my only companion, a vast, whispering thing that seemed to watch me as much as I watched it. Most days were a blur of boredom, but the dark days, the ones that broke me, are etched into my soul like a blade's mark. I was 15 when it started, restless, trapped in the gray house's silence, yearning for something beyond its walls. The forest path beside our house called to me, a rugged trail vanishing into the elms. I glanced back at the red door, ensuring my parents weren't watching, and stepped into the trees. The air turned sharp, cold as a blade, like stepping into a freezer from a warm room. Fog hung low, swirling just above the ground, and the elms loomed, their trunks dark and lifeless, their branches weaving a ceiling that blocked the sky. I ran, heart pounding, the path uneven under my sneakers, adrenaline pushing me deeper. The chill seeped into my bones, and a prickle ran down my spine. Something was watching. I slowed to a jog, then a walk, then stopped, breath ragged. The fog was too thick, swallowing landmarks, and panic clawed my chest. I was lost. Frantic, I searched for my footsteps, and when I found them, faint imprints in the damp earth, I nearly sobbed with relief. I followed them, stumbling through the haze, until the trees parted and daylight broke through. But my house wasn't there. Instead, a crumbling ruin stood in a clearing, ancient and broken, its roof half gone, shingles scattered like dead leaves. The front door hung open, paint peeling in long, curling strips, revealing gray wood beneath. I circled it, heart sinking. No red door, no gray siding, nothing familiar. Had I followed the wrong footprints? Whose were they? The thought chilled me deeper than the forest cold. I considered retracing my steps, but the trees felt alive, their gaze heavy. Instead, I found a dirt road and walked, legs heavy, for 45 minutes until I saw our house. Relief flooded me, but questions gnawed. How had I gone so far, so fast? The forest had swallowed time, made it slippery. I pushed it down, told myself to be glad I was home, and slipped inside. My parents asked where I'd been. Just a walk, I lied, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. I ate dinner in silence, the forest's shadow lingering in my mind like a bruise. That night, I tried to distract myself online, but the internet was garbage out there, cutting out randomly, the screen flashing strange colors, red, black, negative images flickering like a broken film. Frustrated, I went to bed, music playing softly through my earbuds to drown out the quiet. I woke in a cold sweat, the room pitch black, my music a faint hum in the background. A noise outside, sharp, unnatural, jerked me upright. I wiped condensation from my window and peered at the tree line. The elms swayed in the wind, their hollow groans like a chorus of the dead, 1,000 empty symphonies. That watched feeling was back, stronger, prickling my skin like static. I shut the window, crawled under the covers, and pulled them over my head, shutting out the world. Sleep came slowly, the forest's presence pressing against the walls. Morning came with a jolt, footsteps pounding the hardwood, my door flying open. My mom stood there, face pale, eyes wide with horror. "Get up, you have to see this," she said, her voice trembling. I stumbled downstairs in my pajamas, confused, and followed them outside. On the red front door, a giant black X glistened, paint still wet, dripping like blood down the wood. My parents turned to me, their eyes sharp. "Have you seen anyone around the house?" they demanded. I hadn't and shook my head. My dad called a painter, who arrived within the hour and covered the X with white in another 30 minutes. The new white door looked cleaner, almost right, but the X burned in my mind, sharp and wrong. I spent the day on video games, avoiding the forest, but questions churned. That crumbling house, how had I never seen it in 4 years? Who lived there? Why was it there? I went to bed wondering, drawn to it despite the fear curling in my gut. At 3 a.m., I woke again, the forest cries louder, a windstorm tearing through the trees. Dead branches snapped, but the stronger elms whistled their eerie song, louder than ever. I looked outside, trees fell, their crashes swallowed by the wind's howl. That watched feeling returned, and my eyes caught a figure at the tree line. A girl, young, with long black hair and a white dress, her blue eyes glowing in the moonlight. She stared right at me, unmoved by the storm. I bolted downstairs, threw open the door, and ran to where she stood, but she was gone. Then I saw her again, deeper in the trees, still staring. When I stepped toward her, she turned and ran into the forest. Against every instinct, I followed. The woods were darker, colder, the fog thicker than before. She darted through the elms, weaving effortlessly, knowing the path like it was hers. I struggled, branches snagging my clothes, trees crashing behind me. I tripped over a root, sprawling in the dirt, and when I looked up, we were in a clearing. The girl walked toward the old house, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Before she reached the door, she turned and said, "Lorne, I have something to show you." Her voice was frail, echoing through the trees like a distant bell. "How do you know my name?" I shouted, but she didn't answer. I followed her inside, the air strange, freezing yet warm, my skin sweating and shivering at once. Ragged child's dolls littered the floor, their eyes blank, and in the center was a small black book. I grabbed it as she descended to the basement. I chased her, but the stairs gave way beneath me, and everything faded to black. I woke at dawn in the clearing, the book clutched in my hands, the house gone. Dazed, I stumbled home, relief washing over me until I saw the front door, red again, freshly painted, gleaming in the morning light. I ran upstairs to ask my parents if they'd repainted it, but they were as confused as I was. I lied, said I'd been sleepwalking, that I woke up outside. Locking myself in the bathroom, I peeled off my shirt to shower and froze. It was soaked in red, paint, not blood, but it was on my face too, smeared across my cheeks. I sank to the floor, sobbing, then forced myself to stand, washing it away, pretending nothing had happened. In my room, I found the book in my jeans back pocket. The first page read Lorna Brookhart, in black ink, our names so close it felt like a taunt. The pages were chaos, scribbles, random letters, strange drawings of eyes and trees. The last page showed a red door with a black X, and below it, "He came to my house last night. I'm next. It's too late to stop him." I dropped the book, shock numbing me. Was the house real? I asked my parents about other houses nearby. They said there were none. I walked the forest for hours, found no clearing, no house. I was losing my mind. That night, I went to bed expecting to wake to something awful. But I didn't, not until 6 p.m. the next day. I'd slept through the entire day and my parents were gone, their car still in the driveway. I searched the house, the yard, then saw it. Another black X on the red door, wet and dripping. Despair crashed over me, they were gone because of it. I walked into the forest, unafraid, numb, the watched feeling now a constant hum in my blood. The house appeared again, not in a clearing but deep in the trees, a giant tree bursting through its roof, roots twisting through the walls. I ran to it, drawn by a force I couldn't name. The door was no longer red. Memories flooded back, falling through the stairs, painting the door, collapsing in the field. The girl appeared, pale, eyes sunken into her skull, and took my hand. "I'm Lorna," she said. "I have something for you." She led me to the attic, a stained glass window casting eerie patterns of light. She opened a closet, and my parents' bodies spilled out, dismembered, blood pooling on the warped floorboards. Flashes hit me, waking at night, grabbing the fire axe from the shed, creeping into their room. They didn't hear me until the blade fell. Blood sprayed, on the walls, the ceiling, my clothes, as their screams turned to gurgles, then silence. I hacked until their bodies were pieces, the terror in their eyes fading to nothing. I wrapped them in a blanket, carried them through the storm, the tree's branches reaching like hands, their cries cheering me on. I painted the X on the door, left them in the house, and collapsed in the field, whispers urging me to act. Now, staring at their remains, I felt nothing. "Why did you make me do it?" I asked Lorna. "I didn't," she said, her voice soft as ash. "You did it on your own." I asked about her diary, the words on the last page, but she only said, "It's time for me to go." She vanished, leaving a trail of their blood leading from the path. I sit now by their bodies, writing in Lorna's diary, the truth heavy as stone. This is my story, my curse. I killed them, led by her or by something in me, something the forest woke. The house wasn't just a house. It was her trap, alive with her presence, the tree through its roof a sign of its power. The dolls, the book, the stairs, they were pieces of her story, pulling me in. I don't know if she was a ghost, a spirit, or something older, but she chose me. The whispers in the field, the tree's cries, they were her voice, urging me to act. I didn't want to hurt them, but the acts felt right, their blood a release I didn't understand. I carried them to her house, painted the X, marked my sin. The forest cheered, and I was its servant. The gray house was my prison long before the dark days. Its quiet wasn't peace, it was isolation, breeding a hunger for escape that drove me to the forest. That first run down the path, fog choking the air, was a mistake I couldn't undo. The footprints I followed weren't mine. They were hers, leading me to that house. It wasn't there before, not in 4 years of living in that nowhere place. The black X, the paint on my clothes, the diary, they were signs I ignored too long. Lorna's name, so close to mine, was a mirror of my unraveling. The forest knew me, watched me, and when I chased her, it claimed me. I'm bound here now, writing in her book, the last act of a cursed boy. The house appears and vanishes, but it's always there, waiting. Lorna's gone, but her curse isn't. I'll guard these woods, search for a way out, but deep down I know, once you're here, you can never leave. The trees whisper, the night swallows the sun, and I'm locked in their heart. The flowers won't bloom, cursed as I am, but I'll wait forever if I must, a prisoner of my own story. The forest hasn't changed since that night, but I have. I don't sleep much anymore, not since the axe, not since the blood. The gray house stands empty, the red door marked with an X that no paint can hide. I've tried to leave, walked the dirt road until my legs gave out, but the forest pulls me back. The path always leads to her house, to the tree splitting its roof, to the attic where my parents' bodies rot. I've burned the dolls, torn the diary's pages, but they reappear, whole, waiting in the dust. Lorna's voice echoes in the wind, frail and mocking, promising to show me something new. I don't chase her anymore, I know where she leads. I've dug through the forest floor, searching for answers. Roots twist everywhere, thicker than they should be, pulsing like veins under the earth. They belong to the tree in the house, I'm sure of it, though I've never seen it move. I've hacked at it with the axe, the same one I used on them, but the blade bounces off, the wood unyielding. Sap seeps from the cuts, black and burning, stinging my skin like a warning. I've tried fire, but the flames die before they catch, snuffed out by the fog that never lifts. The forest protects its own, and I'm not one of them, not yet. I've pieced together what I can from the diary, from the whispers that come at night. Lorna was here before me, maybe decades ago, maybe longer. Her story mirrors mine, lost in the woods, drawn to the house, marked by the X. The he she wrote of, the one who came for her, wasn't a person. It was the forest, or the tree, or something older that wears their shape. It chooses its victims, feeds on their pain, their blood, their stories. My parents were a sacrifice, a price to bind me here. I don't know why I did it, why the axe felt like an extension of my hands, but I see their faces every time I close my eyes, their terror frozen in time. I've tried to find others, to warn them. Hikers pass sometimes, their voices faint through the trees, but when I run toward them, they're gone, swallowed by the fog. Once, I found a backpack, abandoned, its contents spilled, maps, a water bottle, a knife. I buried it, afraid it was another trap. The forest plays tricks, shows me faces in the bark, eyes in the leaves. I hear my parents' screams in the wind, Lorna's voice in the silence. I'm not sure what's real anymore, but I know I'm not alone. The house shifts, appearing in different clearings, its tree growing taller, its roots deeper. I've found scratches on the door, not mine, not Lorna's. Someone else was here, or is here, caught like me. I've stopped fighting the watched feeling. It's part of me now, like the paint on my hands, the blood I can't wash off. I sit in the attic sometimes, beside their bodies, waiting for Lorna to return. She does, in glimpses, her white dress flickering at the tree line, her eyes glowing in the dark. She doesn't speak, just watches, her smile thin and knowing. I ask her questions. Why me, why them, what's the curse? But she's silent, her presence a weight I can't shake. The diary grows heavier, its pages multiplying, filled with my words now, my story blending with hers. I write to stay sane, to keep track of time, but the days blur, the sun weaker each morning, the night longer. I've thought about ending it, taking the axe to myself, but something stops me. Not fear, hope, maybe, or defiance. I won't let the forest win, not yet. I'll find a way to break the curse, to burn the house, to cut the tree at its roots. I've started carving symbols into the elms, runes I half remember from a book I read years ago, hoping they'll weaken whatever holds this place. They fade by morning, but I keep trying. I've hidden the diary in different spots, under rocks, in hollow trunks, but it always returns to the house, waiting for me to write again. The forest is alive, I know that now. Breathes, it watches, it hungers. The tree in the house is its heart, or maybe its mouth, and I'm caught in its throat. I hear Lorna's voice in my dreams, telling me I chose this, that I wanted it. I don't believe her, but doubt creeps in. Did I want to escape the gray house so badly I invited this? Was the axe my choice or hers? The whispers don't answer, just urge me to act, to paint another X, to feed the forest again. I won't. I can't. But my hands shake when I pass the shed, the axe still there, its blade stained dark. I've lost track of time. Weeks, months, maybe years, I don't know. The seasons don't change right, the fog never lifts. I've found other books, not Lorna's, buried in the house's floorboards. Names I don't recognize, stories like mine, lost, drawn, cursed. They all end the same, I'm next. I'm writing mine now, hoping someone finds it, hoping they burn this place before it claims them too. The forest is patient, but I'm not. I'll fight until I'm free, or until I'm nothing. The trees whisper my name now, Lorn, not Lorna, and I wonder if I'm becoming her, or if she was me all along. The flowers won't bloom, the night won't end, and I'll wait, a prisoner of these woods, until the curse breaks or I do.